That picture of Noma's daughter. Yes, I need it. If I get it, figure out who she is, I'll get you out, and I'll get us out from under Noma.
You're not getting a goddamn thing until you get me the fuck out of here.
At this moment in time, Tariq finds himself in a position with his back against the wall. He needs money, product, and protection. We've also previously spoken about how Tariq needs allies, and how Obi could potentially flip sides by helping Tariq from inside of Noma's organization. There's also Obi's family, who Tariq managed to get green cards for with the help of Rashad Tate's influence, and Obi's family from Nigeria could very well feel like they owe a debt to Tariq, or be further motivated to be a part of Tariq's organization if Noma kills Obi. But is that enough to take on someone like Noma? I really don't think it is. Noma owns a global empire. She has pull, power, and influence, with contractors all around the world and probably multiple connections to law enforcement. She previously had Mecca well positioned to snitch on some of her biggest competitors. One of them was Francesco Lombardi, who also happened to be one of her exes who she shared a daughter with, Anya Covington, and we're going to get to her later on. But with Mecca racking up enemies, I do think this is a topic worth circling back to from season 2. So this video serves as a part 2 to Tariq's revenge and him building some crucial allies. In this video, we're going to be breaking down Tariq's adaptability, and could he use Mecca's beef with Mahoney to create a crucial ally? Because we've all heard the saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. We're then going to take a look at the rumoured introduction of Anya Covington, and how she could play a role in Power Book 2 Ghost Season 4. Now, who is Mahoney? As a quick reminder, Mecca mentioned Mahoney as one of his enemies, and this is what he mentioned in Season 2, Episode 4.
There's a man named Mahoney trying to move into my territory. I want him gone, but more than that, I want his fucking money. All of it.
Mahoney was said to be someone who was moving into Mecca's territory, and he wanted Kane to go to one of his fronts and clean him out. Anything above 50k, and he was happy for Kane to keep the cash and use it to help Zeke. We then saw Kane with Braden as his driver hit one of Mahoney's spots, killing one of his soldiers and escaping. But the rest of Mahoney's soldiers may have got a good look at Kane, or at least Braden's car. Now, apart from these two moments of Mecca mentioning Mahoney and hitting one of his fronts, we haven't heard his name again, nor have we been able to put a face to the name. But Power sure do love to leave breadcrumbs, clues, and Easter eggs for later seasons, just like they once did with Milan, who was right in front of Ghostface the entire time. But do I think he's someone we've already seen? Probably not, but he is someone who may come out of the woodworks after he hears about Mecca's death. As I mentioned before, at this moment in time, Tariq doesn't have any cash flow. Western Holdings has been burnt down to the ground, they have no product and no organization. But with Mahoney being an enemy of an enemy who was said to have been moving into Mecca's territory, could he use this to his advantage now that Mecca's dead? Especially considering Braden knows the location of the cash house him and Kane hit in Season 2. He was there as Kane's driver as they hit one of his fronts and killed one of his people. So could we see a scenario where Braden and Tariq approach Mahoney's soldiers and ask for a sit down with the boss, potentially even telling them how they can help him move product, but more importantly, provide him with valuable intel on a common enemy, Noma. They can also give them information about who hit their cash house in Season 2, who of course was Kane Tejada. We also saw how they kicked off Season 3 of Ghost 3 months prior, which was a scene of Davis asking one of his contacts to fence the Blue Diamond Ring. And we also saw how this was a catalyst to bring Noma to New York, and they could do something very similar with Mahoney. They could do a flashback all the way to Season 2 with Kane and Braden driving away, but showing us Mahoney's perspective of this situation, him receiving a phone call and saying one of his cash houses have been hit, and him looking fucking furious, but knowing he was unable to do anything about it because of Mecca. But now that Mecca's dead, now would be the perfect moment to strike with Tariq on board. As I mentioned before, the enemy of Noma's enemy could very well end up being Tariq's friend. And one trait that Tariq has shown throughout Ghost is adaptability. That was the one thing Ghost was great at. He was able to adapt from a Tom Ford suit in the boardroom to a black hoodie in the streets, networking and creating allies that benefited him both in the drug game as well as the boardroom. Charles Darwin once said something along the lines of, "It's not the strongest who survive, nor the most intelligent, but the ones who are the most adaptable to change." And that's something we can all associate with Tariq St Patrick. Ever since the beginning of Ghost, he's had to adapt and change, and he's had to do it fast. There was Tasha's court case, tutoring Zeke, while working for Monet to pay for Davis through creating a sophisticated modern method of moving product, where he remained in essence a ghost. He's been on the end of a double homicide charge and helped take down one of the biggest snitches. Working for Noma came with his own sets of hurdles, and we saw him protecting his family as well as building an organization, all while beating this Rico, but having to deal with the betrayal from those he once considered family. Now of course, Tariq has made mistakes along the way, with the trust fund being one of them, but Tariq is a quick thinker. He's able to make things happen with power and influence of others, and if he and Braden are able to identify Mahoney early in Season 3, this could be another avenue Tariq could go down to help rebuild, gain some protection in the streets, and eventually strike back. Creating allies is certainly an important part of the game, and you don't always have to be best friend in the street game to work together. Most of the time it really is a favor for a favor. I'm sure we all have work colleagues or business partners we don't exactly see eye to eye with, but as long as your goals and interests align, working together may not be such a bad idea. So that's the theory on Mahoney. Could he be an ally for Tariq in season 4? Now, Anya Covington is another, but again, let's start from the beginning.
She's our way out. One of the scariest things about Noma was that she was this enigma. Noma said that Lombardi was her ex, right? This is her kid. This is her Achilles heel.
We first learned that Noma had a daughter in season 3, episode 5, when Tariq, Effie, and Braden were sent on a mission to retrieve a listening device that was planted in the home of Francesco Lombardi by Mecca. Lombardi wasn't just an enemy and a rival of Noma's, he also happened to be one of Noma's exes who she shares a daughter with. And just on a side note, for someone who runs a global empire, I do feel like Noma divulges in a bit too much information that she doesn't need to, that can definitely be used against her. For example, I really don't think there was any need to tell Tariq and Effie that Francesco Lombardi was her ex. Any bit of information or detail that you can gain on someone's past or history could potentially be used against them. So I am very surprised that Noma gave them that bit of information. But it also shows that she's human, and Caroline Chakisi did tease we are going to see a gentle side to her character, and I can only assume that will come with her daughter. So back to Anya Covington. Effie and Tariq plan to use Noma's daughter as leverage to get out from under Noma's thumb, but first they had a difficult task of finding her. Now when they got back from Milan, shit went sideways with Effie when Tariq found out the truth about Lauren, and it was even made worse when she ended up in an orange jumpsuit because she was the only one with a picture of Noma's daughter. So to get the details, Tariq had to help someone who betrayed him. So this is where he got the name, address, and social media of Noma's daughter.
Turns out Noma's daughter isn't even a kid anymore. She's our age and she's attending NYU. I don't even think that she knows that her mom is a criminal. It's like Noma kept her lives completely separate.
Now this is going to be key when I come to a theory in just a moment, but after Tariq told Effie they had no future, she went straight behind his back. She told Noma that her daughter was in danger, and she had to move from her current location. Another stab in the back from Effie, but can Tariq still use Anya Covington? Let's break this down with a little theory. On IMDb they have Anya Covington listed by being played by Sydney Winbush, although we do have to bear in mind, IMDb isn't always 100% accurate, but the question is, if we do see Anya in season 4 of Ghost, how can Tariq find Anya if she's been moved to safety, and how can he use her as leverage? Now Obi's one man who's very close to Noma, so maybe that could be one way, but we all know Tariq still has his connections in the form of Davis McLean and Rashad Tate, who could help him find out where she is. But what does he do with Anya when and if he does find her? Here's where it gets interesting. We all talk about how information is power, and in season 3 Noma wanted to get to the bottom of who was behind Mecca's death. But who was behind Anya's father's death? Anya's own mother Noma. Noma was the one who killed Anya's father Francesco Lombardi. And if Tariq tells Anya Covington that her mother is a criminal who also happened to be behind Francesco Lombardi's death, can he get Anya to turn against Noma? Could this be another way Tariq strikes back? It is a storyline that has potential to go into so many different directions, and of course at this moment in time we can only theorize about how Tariq can use Anya, but it definitely is a conversation that needs to be had, especially if she is being introduced in season 4. But drop all your thoughts down below on Mahoney being a potential ally for Tariq. Could we see Mahoney coming out of the woodworks now that Mecca's dead? And how do you see this playing out with Anya Covington? Can Tariq play her against Noma? Drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section, and as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.